A young man nervously calls out to the knight, Leo Cornelia, who sternly asks what he wants. She dismisses him, suggesting he find another amateur to fight, as her sword would surely leave him in pieces. The man tries to explain that she has misunderstood his intentions. The sorcerer, Fuli Dent, kneels and passionately confesses his love for Leo, who can only react with stunned disbelief. Leo angrily questions his motives, claiming no man could love a woman scarred by battle. Fuli earnestly insists that what she said is not true. He points to himself, declaring that there is a man right there who does love her. Having heard enough, Leo draws her sword. Leo threatens to cut Fuli down for getting in her way. She tells the amateur to move, but he flinches, still holding the flowers. Fuli passionately declares that he is serious and has loved her since the moment he saw her. Leo is visibly flustered by his earnestness. He continues, praising her gallant figure and the rare smiles she lets slip. He concludes his praise by mentioning his love for her beautiful abs. Leo recoils in shock, questioning his focus on her abs. Leo angrily demands to know if he is making fun of her for her brawny physique. Fuli vehemently disagrees, exclaiming that her muscles are the best part. He explains that he finds her lean, battle-forged abs 100 times more attractive than the soft bodies of other girls. He declares that to him, she is the most beautiful girl in the entire world. Blushing, Leo thinks to herself that no one has ever treated her like a woman before. Fuli watches in confusion. Overcome with emotion, Leo curses and runs away as Fuli calls for her to wait. Fuli narrates that this was the story of how he and the knight first met. Still blushing furiously from the encounter, Leo continues to mutter curses to herself in embarrassment. The story introduces Leo Cornelia, a knight known as the undefeatable Holy Blade. She was a legend, said to have been born and raised as a tool for killing monsters, wielding her blade unsparingly for the sake of her country. Fuli Dent, the man who had fallen in love with Leo, eagerly follows her through a forest. When she questions why he is tailing her, he explains he wants to help on her quest. Leo curtly informs him that his help is unnecessary, as she has already dispatched all the monsters by herself. She bluntly tells him she doesn't need a companion, leaving him speechless. Fuli notices that Leo is injured, but she nonchalantly dismisses his concern. He becomes agitated, questioning why she didn't mention it. She tells him it's useless to fuss over a mere scratch, as it won't change her duty to fight. Announcing her departure, she tells him he should leave too. Before Leo can leave, Fuli suddenly grabs her, causing her to react with outrage. She inwardly panics, wondering if he is actually going to touch her. Bracing herself, she defiantly dares him to proceed, vowing that she will not give in, no matter how he tries to defile her. A warm light emanates from Fuli's hand as he begins to heal her wound. Leo is stunned, wondering how he possesses such advanced magic. Fuli explains seriously that he cannot ignore any injury, big or small, on the girl he loves. He asks her to hold still, which only flusters her more. Once the healing is done, a blushing Leo curses, completely baffled by his behavior. Still blushing, Leo breaks the silence to ask how long he plans on touching her. A flustered Fuli insists it was merely a medical examination. Though he internally admits he was mesmerized by her abs, Leo declares that she cannot trust him and walks away. The interlude, titled The Night and Her Scars, opens with Leo Cornelia bathing alone. As the water runs over her, she finds herself unable to stop thinking about Fuli Dent's earnest confession of love. Leo is flustered, unable to believe she is getting so carried away by what Fuli said. She looks at her back, marked by a prominent scar, and her thoughts turn grim. She questions why she is letting herself get so worked up. She laments that with a body like this, she can never be a woman again, and resolves to head out on a quest. Leo recalls her grueling training as the sole heir to a family of knights. She was raised under the strict tutelage of her father, dedicating her life to mastering the sword. Because of this, she felt she had to cast aside her womanhood. She came to believe that the battlefield was the only place where she could survive. In the present, Leo engages a monster with focused intensity. She swiftly cuts down her foe. She stands silently amidst the bodies of the monsters she has defeated. Leo assesses the grim situation. An endless horde of huge monsters continues to advance on her. Her arm strains in its armor, she realizes it must be broken. Knowing she is outmatched, she decides to back off for now. However, a massive Cyclops monster blocks her path of retreat. She realizes the monster is not going to make it easy for her. The pain from her injured arm jolts through her body. She closes her eyes, believing this is the end. Suddenly, Fully Dent swoops in and carries her out of harm's way. Completely shocked, Leo demands to know why he is there. As he sets her down, his hands land on her midsection. Leo furiously tells him to get off, accusing him of groping her. Fully explains that since they might die, he had to confess his love for her. She angrily asks if this is really the time for a confession, pointing to the looming danger. The monster roars, preparing to smash them. Leo pushes Fully to safety as the monster attacks. She is surprised by a sudden sensation. She flexes her hand and realizes her arm is completely healed. Leo faces down the massive monster, which she quickly dispatches. Fully watches her in awe. Fully expresses his relief and admiration, amazed that she took the monster down in one hit. He then apologizes, explaining that when he touched her, he was searching for injuries to heal. He admits that he heard in town she was fighting monsters alone, so he panicked and ran to help. Leo furiously calls him a massive idiot for his reckless behavior. She angrily asks why he would throw his life away for her, declaring she will never like him in return. She rejects the idea of being treated like a woman, claiming her scarred body makes it impossible. She tells him to get it through his thick skull and stop coming after her. Fully quietly listens to her outburst. Fully chuckles, admitting he knows she is way out of his leg. He earnestly tells her that he loves her just as she is and doesn't care about her scars, leaving Leo speechless. Leo is completely flustered by his confession. Misinterpreting her silence, Fully dejectedly says he will give up if he is just being a pest. Leo gives him a sharp knock on the head. Blushing, she tells him to shut up, admitting he made her worry. She tells him she does not care anymore if he insists. Leo declares that she will not change, but if he insists on liking her, she will allow it. Fully is stunned into silence by her words. He beams, understanding her answer completely. This is a story about a female knight being treated as a woman until she decides to change. While traveling together, Fully asks Leo if she uses magic, but she confidently dismisses the idea, stating her sword is all she needs. Eager to help, Fully offers to teach her a little, conjuring a small flame in his hand. Annoyed by his underestimation, Leo retorts that she can indeed use magic. She reaches out her hand, preparing to demonstrate her power. Fully is startled by the flash of the explosion. Leo's attempt at magic results in a massive, uncontrolled explosion as Fully cries out her name. He rushes to her side, asking if she's all right as the ground rumbles. When the smoke clears, Leo appears unharmed. She stands in tattered clothes, angrily telling him that the spell was a complete and utter failure. He scolds her for what was essentially a self-destruct spell, but she scoffs. While healing the numerous wounds Leo sustained from her own blast, Fully laments having to fix such pointless injuries. He then pauses, realizing the explosion was far too powerful for a simple mistake. He theorizes that she must possess an incredible amount of latent mana. To test his hypothesis, he asks to borrow her hand for a moment. Fully squeezes her hand. A flustered Leo demands to know what he is doing. He explains that he will try to control the flow of her mana through her hand while she casts the spell again. She finds his ability surprisingly convenient, which he takes as a compliment. Reluctantly, she agrees to try casting the spell again under his guidance. With Fully's help, Leo successfully unleashes a powerful magical slash. Fully is amazed, exclaiming that she has far more mana than he ever imagined and that it could become powerful explosion magic. Leo smugly accepts the praise, proudly declaring herself the strongest. Seeing her simple pride, Fully decides to push things a little further. Fully suddenly squeezes her hand tighter, causing Leo to yelp in surprise. He explains that less contact makes it harder to control her mana. He pulls her closer, and she protests the proximity, but he urges her to focus. Gritting her teeth, she tries to concentrate through the embarrassment. Fully encourages her, telling her they're almost there. His intense gaze makes the legendary swordswoman's heart pound. Leo announces she is starting to get the hang of it. However, the closeness becomes too much, and she feels she's reaching her limit. Just as Fully triumphantly declares he has perfect control, he playfully bops her nose. Fully is flustered by the result. The sudden, unexpected touch breaks her concentration entirely. An immense wave of magical power erupts from her, a power that could have rivaled that of the greatest sorcerer. A flustered Fully insists that Leo has misunderstood him completely. Fully brings up Leo's smug reaction to his confession while she teases him, assuming he must have done it many times before. He earnestly admits that she is his very first love, and he is completely inexperienced in matters of romance. Leo is left speechless and delighted by his heartfelt admission. The story continues in the royal capital. Leo Cornelia wanders the streets, thinking to herself that she has nothing to do and that Fuli hasn't shown up. She overhears a mother telling her excited child to wait until her birthday tomorrow to eat cake. The exchange makes Leo recall that for her, it is that day again. Lost in thought, she's brought back to reality when someone calls out her name. Fuli appears, wishing her a good morning with a surprising intensity. Leo is taken aback, noting that he seems clearly different than usual. She observes his steeled eyes, thinking that he honestly looks rather cool. Fuli addresses her directly, causing a flustered reaction from the knight. Emanating a powerful aura, Fuli awkwardly tries to make small talk about the weather. Leo is internally shocked by his attempt at casual conversation. She finds the contrast between his battle-hardened aura and his idle chit-chat baffling, but agrees with him. Fuli feels he can't get a read on her and resolves to stay on his toes. Leo's suspicion grows as she notices he is hiding something behind his back. Her imagination runs wild, and she wonders if he's hiding a weapon and intends to fight her. She recalls rumors of a killer who preys on adventurers but quickly dismisses the idea that it could be Fuli. Nevertheless, she decides she cannot let her guard down. Her tension spikes as Fuli suddenly moves to pull the object out from behind his back. Instead of a weapon, Fuli reveals a gift box and wishes a stunned Leo a happy birthday. A blushing Fuli explains he found out her birthday from the Adventurers Guild so they could celebrate. He presents the gift to her, revealing a necklace inside the box. He nervously apologizes for his awkwardness and explains the necklace is functional as it is enchanted to boost her magic resistance. Fuli lets out a relieved "oh" at her explanation. Holding the gift, Leo explains that no one has ever celebrated her birthday before, which is why she had the wrong idea. She thanks him for the gift and walks away, leaving him to stammer a reply. Fuli thinks her reaction was lukewarm, but decides he should be happy that she accepted the present. Later that night, the scene shifts to Leo's home. Back in her room, Leo opens the gift box from Fuli. She carefully lifts the necklace out of the box. The moment triggers a memory of a past birthday, where her trainer dismissed the occasion, stating that her training started now. In the present, she fumbles slightly as she puts on the necklace. Wearing the necklace, Leo looks at herself in the mirror with a huge, blushing grin. She is clearly overjoyed by the thoughtful gift. In fact, the knight was so happy that she stayed in front of the mirror, admiring the gift for over an hour. Leo continues to blush happily, cherishing her new necklace with a quiet giggle. After finishing another quest, Fuli asks Leo about her plans for the rest of the morning. A flustered Leo invites him to come shopping with her. Fuli eagerly agrees, barely able to believe he's going shopping with Miss Leo. He is completely taken aback, wondering to himself if this could be considered a date. Fuli's excitement turns to confusion when Leo leads him into a weapon shop. Leo explains that she's been wanting a new sword, and this place has a good selection, with Fuli noting how into it she seems. She encourages him to find something for himself too, but he hesitantly replies. She quickly spots a weapon that catches her eye. Leo picks up a morning star, suggesting it would suit Fuli perfectly, much to his confusion. She's already lost in a fond memory of accidentally splitting her own head open with one, a story that disturbs Fuli. Her explanation of the weapon's use is unsettlingly innocent. Despite his protests that he isn't looking to buy anything, Leo moves on to find another weapon. Realizing she isn't listening, Fuli watches as she enthusiastically picks another one. Next, Leo brandishes a great scythe, presenting it to Fuli. When he asks about her criteria, she vaguely says it's super strong. She then happily recalls using it to gouge out a goblin's eye as a child, leading Fuli to realize every weapon has a story for her. Fuli reflects that while this isn't the shopping trip he envisioned, it's exactly the kind of thing Leo would enjoy. Leo notices Fuli's quiet demeanor and asks if something is wrong. She assumes he's bored and would rather be looking at clothes or jewelry. She says that unfortunately for him, she can't do girly things like that. She tells him to find someone else if that's what he's looking for. Fuli quickly denies it, insisting that's not it at all. Fuli explains that he's perfectly happy because nothing is more interesting than seeing the smile of the person he loves when they talk about things they like. Leo is left flustered by his heartfelt confession. Seizing the opportunity, she beams and insists he buy the morning star so she can demonstrate how it works. Fuli resigns himself to the purchases, thinking that Miss Leo's smile certainly didn't come cheap. Fuli struggles under the weight of his new purchases, the scythe and the morning star, muttering about how heavy they are. Fuli Dent waits for Leo Cornelia, noting that she's late for their quest meetup. He isn't too concerned, as he figures it's an easy quest. Just then, Leo's voice calls out, apologizing for keeping him waiting. Fuli turns to greet her, teasing that she's fashionably late. Leo arrives coughing and looking flushed, but she insists they get going. Fuli immediately expresses his concern. He points out how extremely sick she appears to be. Leo stubbornly denies being ill, claiming she could never catch a cold, even as Fuli retorts that she's hacking up a lung. Fuli reaches out to feel Leo's forehead and is shocked to find she's burning up. He insists she's in no condition for a quest and must see a doctor right away. A flustered Leo tries to push him away, questioning his shamelessness, but her attempt is surprisingly weak. She stumbles, admitting her own weakness. Leo stubbornly refuses to give in, declaring that as the ultimate knight, she won't back down even when sick. Seeing that she won't listen to reason, Fuli sighs in resignation. He suddenly sweeps her up into his arms, leaving her utterly shocked. Fuli tells a struggling Leo that since she won't listen, he's taking her by force. He wobbles and comments that she's a little heavy, which prompts a shocked cry from Leo. She launches into a passionate defense of her weight, explaining it comes from her warrior's training and is a source of pride, prompting an apology from Fuli. Leo demands to be put down, worried someone will see them, but Fuli assures her they'll stick to the back roads. Fuli explains that just as she has her pride as a knight, he has his own pride as a man, which means he can't leave a girl alone when she's weak. He then confesses that this feeling is even heavier when it's the girl he loves, leaving Leo flustered. A blushing Leo thinks to herself that perhaps it's not so bad to be weak sometimes. Carrying a pouting Leo, Fuli remarks that of course she'd feel heavy while wearing all of her armor. Leo Cornelia effortlessly slays a mushroom monster while Fuli Dent praises her skill, remarking that it was hardly a challenge. As Fuli comments on the strangeness of the defeated monster, its cap begins to hiss and release a substance. A large cloud of spores bursts from the monster, completely enveloping a surprised Leo. Seeing this, Fuli cries out in concern, asking if she is all right. Dazed and confused by the cloud of spores, Leo looks around and calls out Fuli's name. Fuli asks if she is okay, but Leo can only comment on a strange tingling sensation spreading through her body. He quickly deduces that the spores from the creature, identified as a desire shroom, must have some kind of hypnotic effect. The effect seems to take hold as Leo, her eyes shadowed, blankly says his name. Suddenly, Leo stumbles and falls towards a surprised Fuli. With a flushed face, she tells him she wants a closer look, revealing that the spores were not hypnotic but an aphrodisiac. As a flustered Fuli questions her behavior, Leo teases him, asking if he's embarrassed and calling him cute. To Fuli's dismay, another desire shroom appears at the worst possible time. Without hesitation, an irritated Leo slices through the new monster. She angrily tells the creature not to ruin the moment, her intensity frightening Fuli, who thinks she's a scary holy blade. The newly defeated monster's cap begins to swell, preparing to release more spores. Fuli panics, realizing he's about to be hit with the same aphrodisiac. Leo wobbles slightly, asking Fuli why he has suddenly gone quiet. She grows insecure, sadly assuming he doesn't want a mannish girl like her coming on to him. As she reaches out, Fuli suddenly grabs her hand. Now fully affected by the aphrodisiac himself, Fuli loudly refutes her insecurity, exclaiming that he is super turned on. Overwhelmed by the aphrodisiac, Fuli confesses his love for Leo, leaving her stunned and flustered. He struggles to contain his urges, crying out her name. Unable to restrain himself any longer, he grabs her and pulls her close. The two are face to face, both blushing and overcome by the situation. Leo trembles, her eyes swirling from the aphrodisiac's powerful effect. Suddenly, the effect wears off. Snapping back to reality, Leo finds Fuli moving in on her and delivers a powerful punch, angrily asking what he thinks he's doing. The desire shroom's aphrodisiac effect is explained to only last for 1 minute. Leo Cornelia confronts a young woman in a hallway, asking if she is the famed Blade, while Fuli Dent watches from the side. The woman, Anri, retorts that she never thought Leo was into this sort of thing. Fuli panics and dashes forward, insisting that the entire situation is a misunderstanding. Anri lunges forward with a determined expression. She throws a powerful punch directly at Leo's face. Leo deftly blocks the attack, looking unfazed. Leo notes that it was a surprisingly sharp blow. Anri realizes her opponent is far stronger than she appeared. Anri fiercely warns Leo not to bully her big brother. Leo is completely bewildered by the term big brother. A shocked Fuli cries out his sister's name, asking what she is doing. Anri explains she was defending Fuli, while he tries to assure Leo that it's a misunderstanding. Leo turns to Fuli and asks about the girl's identity. Fuli apologizes and introduces his little sister, Anri Dent, who is also a martial artist. A flustered Anri apologizes for her mistake, realizing she had the wrong idea. Fuli praises Anri for apologizing, while Leo observes with disgust at what she perceives as a sister complex. Despite her outward reaction, Leo feels a sense of relief knowing Anri is only his sister. Fuli questions Leo about why she seemed so angry with him earlier. Leo is taken aback, realizing she may have overdone it. Blushing, she makes an excuse that it was just to build his backbone, and that asking about his sister was a whim. Anri accepts this explanation, declaring that Miss Leo is the best. Inspired, Fuli declares he will do his best to be worthy of standing beside Leo. Fuli celebrates his newfound resolve as a maid looks on. Anri taunts Leo by sticking her tongue out. Leo reacts with clear annoyance. Fuli pulls Anri back, asking what she is doing, but she claims it is nothing. Anri turns away, puffing her cheeks. Leo watches with a twitching smile, realizing that Anri has a brother complex too. A few days after learning about the Dent siblings, Leo Cornelia finds herself with a new problem. She has noticed Fuli's little sister, Anri, stalking her and wonders what the reason could be. Deciding to face the issue head-on, Leo confronts Anri, stating that she knows she's being followed. Anri is impressed that Leo detected her, but Leo dryly suggests she try hiding better. Unfazed, Anri declares their meeting a once-in-a-lifetime event and challenges her to a fight. Leo agrees but asks for a reason as a matter of common courtesy. Anri fiercely warns Leo not to lay a hand on her big brother. A baffled Leo counters that it is Fuli who keeps getting close to her. She explains that he even confessed his love for her abs. This revelation shocks Anri, who begins to wonder if her brother is simply an idiot. Anri tries to defend her brother, insisting he's wonderful if you just ignore his tendency to look at muscular women. Shaking it off, Anri challenges Leo to match. Leo confidently accepts, hoping Anri can handle it. Anri retorts that it will be a piece of cake. As Anri lunges to attack, her clothes suddenly rip. Mortified, she wonders how it happened, worrying about being exposed. Leo is unimpressed, questioning why a martial artist's clothes would tear. Anri sheepishly admits it might be because she ate 20 pieces of cake earlier, which leads Leo to call her an idiot. Anri tries to justify her large meal as necessary calorie intake for the fight, but Leo dismisses it as simply pigging out. Sighing, Leo hands Anri her cloak and tells her to put it on. She postpones their fight, suggesting they can settle things another day once Anri is properly dressed. Anri then asks Leo to stop acting like her big brother. A flustered Anri declares she's letting Leo off the hook for today, though Leo points out she did not do anything. As she leaves, she promises to thank Leo properly for the cloak. Leo watches her go, thinking that despite the odd encounter, Anri is an earnest person. While walking through the forest, Fuli alerts Leo to a pack of goblins ahead. Leo tells a confused Fuli to stay alert. She warns him about the unstable ground, letting out a small hiccup. Fuli rallies them to do their best, and she agrees. It dawns on Fuli that Miss Leo has the hiccups. He finds her attempt to hide it incredibly cute. Suddenly, a goblin lunges from the shadows. A horde of goblins appears, and Fuli notes that their numbers could pose a problem. Leo lays out a battle plan, telling Fuli to provide magic support from the rear while she attacks from the front. Completely charmed by her hiccups, Fuli admits to himself that he didn't understand her instructions at all. He agrees anyway, and they dash into the fight. Leo cuts down the goblins, hiccuping with each movement. Fuli watches in disbelief, wondering about her constant hiccups. Facing the last one, Leo tries to deliver a cool line, but it's interrupted. As she lands the final blow, she thinks that she has never felt so sorry for a goblin. With the fight over, Fuli compliments Miss Leo on her performance. He playfully mentions he was listening to her hiccups, and she asks if he really thinks she was useful. She attempts to say good job, but another hiccup escapes, startling Fuli. Fuli thinks to himself that the hiccup was so obvious she can't possibly cover it up. Leo demands to know what Fuli has been smirking about, but he claims it's nothing. She heatedly denies that she was hiccuping, right as another one escapes. Utterly mortified by the slip-up, Leo's face turns bright red. She takes her frustration out on Fuli, and the sudden action cures her. He cries out, asking why she had to take it out on him. Leo twists her body, complaining that her shoulders are getting pretty stiff. Fuli agrees, noting that she has been doing a lot of tough quests back-to-back. He gets an idea and offers to give her a massage. Leo tries to refuse, but Fuli insists that she shouldn't knock it until she's tried it. He gestures for her to have a seat, and she reluctantly agrees. As Fuli begins the massage, Leo lets out a flustered sound. When he asks how it is, she stammers that it's not too shabby. Internally, she's shocked, wondering if massages always felt this good. She tries to muffle her sounds, worried she let out more weird noises. Fuli is surprised, exclaiming that her shoulders are as stiff as a board. Leo winces and tells him not to press so hard. He suggests moving to her lower back, but Leo protests, thinking he might be using it as an excuse to feel her up. Fuli, with a look of 100% good intentions, insists he just wants to take care of her since she's been pushing herself so hard. Realizing his intentions are pure, Leo apologizes. As he presses into her lower back, Leo flinches and tries to bear it. Fuli notices her cape is getting in the way. He suggests moving it aside, but Leo panics and tells him to stop. Leo protests that he'll see her back, but Fuli doesn't understand why that's a bad thing. She admits that she just doesn't want him to see it. Fuli is shocked by her refusal. He becomes dejected, concluding that she must really hate him. Exasperated by his misunderstanding, Leo gives in. She tells him to go ahead, move the cape and start rubbing. Fuli moves her cape aside, revealing a large scar. Leo nervously asks him not to look too hard at the gash on her back. Fuli is confused, asking what gash she means. She explains that back wounds are said to be from running away, and it doesn't feel good to have someone stare at it. She adds that it's a pretty big one too. Fuli tells her he isn't bothered at all. He passionately declares that her wounds are proof she fought to protect everyone, and he would send anyone flying who dared to shame her for them. His words leave Leo speechless. When he is done, Leo stretches, amazed at how much lighter she feels. Fuli smiles, reminding her the effect is only temporary. Leo sincerely thanks Fuli for everything. A flustered Fuli asks what she means by everything. She announces that it's her turn to give him a massage, and she insists he sit. Fuli agrees, but at that moment he had forgotten one thing. The knight possessing the strongest fingers in the kingdom did not have the words "hold back" in her vocabulary. After the massage, a dazed Fuli lies on the ground. Leo gives him a thumbs up and asks if he's okay, to which he weakly responds that he is. Fuli expresses relief, noting how tiring their current quest has been. He suggests to Leo that they take a break to plan their strategies, acknowledging her hard work as the vanguard. Fuli becomes concerned when he realizes Leo is being oddly quiet. He reasons that she might be concentrating and decides it is best not to disturb her with idle chatter. Suddenly, Leo slumps onto Fuli's shoulder. Startled and blushing, a flustered Fuli asks what she is doing. He is shocked when he realizes that she has fallen fast asleep from exhaustion. Fuli panics, wondering what to do and whether he should wake her up. He is startled when Leo murmurs his name in her sleep. Her sleep-talking makes him blush, and he briefly wonders if she could be dreaming about him. His hope is dashed when she calls him annoying, and he comically apologizes for bothering her even in her dreams. Fuli decides not to wake her, wanting to enjoy the peaceful moment for a little while longer. Just then, Leo awakens with a start, completely flustered by the situation. She reflects that she has never dozed off like this before, realizing it was because she felt so calm being next to him. She is relieved to discover that Fuli has now fallen asleep. Thinking the tables have turned, she devises a plan to wake him so he will think her dozing off was just a dream. However, just as she calls his name, he slumps over completely. Completely trapped, a blushing Leo asks what he thinks he is doing. Fuli settles comfortably onto her lap in his sleep. Exasperated, she decides to let him be, and they end up enjoying an afternoon nap together. Leo and Fuli take shelter from a sudden downpour, with Fuli remarking that the rain won't let up anytime soon. A loud clap of thunder makes Fuli jump, but Leo seems even more startled beside him. Fuli asks if something is wrong, but Leo quickly denies it. Before he can say more, a massive bolt of lightning strikes a tree right in front of them. Fuli exclaims at the size of the shock, turning to check on Leo. Leo tries to play it cool, but her shaken expression gives her away. Putting the pieces together, Fuli asks if she is perhaps afraid of lightning. She vehemently denies it, but her argument is weakened by the fact that she's clinging to his arm for dear life as another lightning strike hits. Still insisting she is not scared, tears begin to form in Leo's eyes. Fuli asks if she has a special memory about it, prompting her to finally relent. She sighs, admitting there's no way she could hide it, and agrees to tell him why she's not good with lightning. She begins to recount a memory from a long time ago when she was training on a rainy day. While it was pouring, she was practicing her swings and stances. At that moment, she says, lightning hit her dead on, a development that shocks Fuli. Leo clarifies that the lightning was weak and didn't leave major damage, though Fuli wonders if her head was alright after such an event. Fuli remarks that it would be weirder if she didn't develop trauma from that. Just then, another bolt of lightning strikes perilously close to them. Fuli yelps in alarm, asking if she is alright. The close strike is the last straw, and Leo's legs give out from fear, causing her to collapse. Fuli asks if she can stand up. Embarrassed and tearful, she pleads with him not to tell anyone, as it would tarnish the name of the sacred sword. Fuli promises her that of course he would not tell anyone. Fuli admits that this is a side of her he wants to keep all for himself. He explains that since she always tries to be perfect, knowing about this vulnerable side of her makes him happy. Completely flustered, Leo relents and tells him to come a little bit closer. The narration notes that until the rain stopped, Leo acted a bit differently than she usually does. Fuli eagerly offers to join Leo for her training session, while she stretches with a skeptical expression. Leo warns that she has no intention of changing her workout to his level and will leave him behind if he cannot keep up. Undaunted, Fuli assures her he's quite athletic and compliments her on how amazing she looks in casual clothes. Leo announces they'll start with 500 push-ups. Fuli is shocked by the high number for a warm-up, but Leo clarifies that this is just her usual routine. She begins at an incredible speed, so fast that Fuli thinks he's seeing double. Determined, Fuli crouches down, resolving to keep up with her. Leo stands up having finished all 500 push-ups and announces the next set of exercises, leaving Fuli stunned on the ground. She tells him he can leave if it's too much and that no one would blame him. Fuli knows her workout routine is killer, but he refuses to give up. He resolves not to act like a weakling in front of her. She effortlessly continues her training with 1,000 practice swings. After completing 1,000 practice swings, Leo declares her warm-up finished. Fuli calls out to her, wiping sweat from his brow. Panting and drenched, he can't believe the amount of effort required for just her warm-up. Leo asks if he's up for the next challenge, a 6-mile run. Despite his exhaustion, Fuli defiantly agrees to bring it on. Predictably, Fuli collapses before making it even halfway through the run. He laments his lousy performance, admitting he just wanted to impress her. He turns to her and apologizes for being so pathetic. Leo looks down at him, seemingly surprised by his words. Leo explains that not many people have wanted to train with her, and those who did always gave up complaining. She tells a surprised Fuli that he's the first person to push through without a single complaint. Blushing slightly, she confesses that she admires his foolhardy integrity, if nothing else. Fuli exclaims that complaining is the last thing he'd do, which seems to confuse her. Fuli clarifies that there's no way he could complain when he gets to see her workout up close. He calls the experience a feast for the eyes he would have paid good money for, much to Leo's embarrassment. He declares that all of her muscles are national treasures, but her abs deserve special attention. He continues his praise, focusing on her lower back. And finally, he shouts his admiration for her glutes. Fuli exclaims that he got an eyeful of all 3 of his favorite muscle groups and that with her muscles by his side, he can get through any training. He adds that getting a workout while seeing her phenomenal body was a real treat and asks to join her again. Leo is left speechless by his passionate declaration. Flustered, Leo cracks her knuckles and offers to give him some hands-on training for an even closer look at her body. Fuli panics, saying his muscles are too sore to move, but she tells him not to be shy. She invites him to take a gander at her biceps as she puts them to work. Fuli waits for Leo, wondering why she hasn't arrived yet. Suddenly, an armored foot steps into view as Leo calls out to him. Fuli's face lights up as he happily greets Miss Leo. Leo, looking flustered and tired, lets out a sigh as she holds her head. Fuli, concerned by her strange pose, asks Leo what's wrong as she apologizes for being late. Leo insists there's no special meaning behind her pose, but Fuli says he finds it hard not to worry. Worried, he asks if she hit her head, but she denies it. Leo insists there's nothing to see, but Fuli wonders why she keeps looking away. Fuli tries to get a better look, but Leo keeps turning away from him. His persistence makes him gloomy, as he wonders if she wants to avoid looking at him that badly. Leo becomes distraught, claiming she's lost her will to live and wants to go home, but Fuli tells her she's wrong. Finally giving in, a blushing Leo reveals her forehead and asks if he's happy now. She explains that she just cut her bangs a little too short, much to Fuli's surprise. A flashback to that morning shows the moment she realized her mistake with the scissors. The flashback shows Leo panicking after cutting her bangs too short, realizing she has to meet Fuli later. She laments that she was a little spacey that morning, as she would never usually make such a mistake. Back in the present, she gloomily asks if her hair looks weird, while trying to feign indifference. Fuli's silence makes her anxious, and she demands that he say something. Breaking his silence, a blushing Fuli blurts out that she looks adorable and that her hair is super cute. Leo is completely taken aback by his enthusiastic praise. He continues, telling her she could pull off any hairstyle, which elicits a flustered thanks from Leo. He insists on seeing her face more, calling it a waste to hide, as the night is lavished with more praise. A final thought reflects that long bangs look good on her too. Leo walks through town, feeling unusually sluggish. With no quests for the day, she considers going home to rest, concerned that getting a cold would set a bad example. She gets a sudden chill, noting how heavy her body feels for some reason. A mysterious voice calls out, addressing her as Miss Sacred Sword. A fortune teller named Sariella offers to give Leo a reading if she has any qualms. Leo finds the woman highly suspicious and is thanked for her straightforward impression. She turns away, curtly dismissing the offer and telling Sariella to stop making assumptions. Sariella seems amused by her reaction. Sariella asks if a certain gentleman is causing her heart trouble, much to Leo's surprise. A flustered Leo demands to know what she just said, while Sariella remarks that she knew it the moment she saw her. The fortune teller mentions that rumors have been spreading about the sacred sword's mood changing after being seen with a man. Leo insists there is no way that could happen, but Sariella seems doubtful. Despite her frantic denials, Leo's blushing face tells a different story. Sariella cryptically tells Leo that in her current state, it seems she won't be able to keep a man for long. Intrigued, Leo asks what she means by that. Sariella invites her to her mansion, promising to thoroughly predict her future ordeals. Unseen by them, Fuli spots Miss Leo on the street. He wonders who the person with her is. He finds it unusual for her to be with someone else. Leo follows Sariella inside, thinking to herself how suspicious the mansion is. Sariella welcomes her to the Mansion of Fortunes. Leo immediately demands an explanation for her earlier comment about not being able to keep a man, but Sariella just asks if she's suddenly interested. Sariella teases Leo, pointing out that she seems to have a great interest in that man. She explains that Leo wouldn't have entered such a suspicious mansion unless she wanted to know about her future with him. A flustered Leo denies it, accusing Sariella of making fun of her, but Sariella replies that she'd never do that and finds her adorable. Sariella then admits with a finger to her lips that the "can't keep a man for long" line was just a little fib. However, she insists that it is true she can predict the future. Suddenly, Leo stumbles, feeling her body grow weak. Sariella notes that her trap has finally kicked in. She remarks that if Leo were more alert like in the past, she would have seen through such an obvious trap, noting how much she has changed. Sariella explains that the incense is designed to sap the strength from a person's body. She then adds a chilling detail: it only works on humans. Leo reacts in shock and disbelief. Sariella reveals her pointed ears, shocking Leo with the realization that she is a dark elf. Sariella recalls that in ancient times, dark elves were heralded as the embodiment of darkness, and now she is ready to get started. From outside, a worried Fuli realizes that the mansion Leo entered belongs to a dark elf who are known to fiercely hate humans. As Leo struggles against the incense's effects, Sariella reassures her that it will all be over soon. Henry Dent approaches and asks for a moment of Miss Holy Blade's time. Leo recognizes her as Fuli's little sister and wonders if she is here for another challenge. Henry tells Leo to follow her if she can spare the time. Leo observes Henry's tense demeanor, thinking she's itching for a fight, and is led away. Internally, Leo steels herself, telling Henry to give it her best shot. Henry excitedly prepares to dig into a slice of cake, much to Leo's confusion. Leo questions what is happening, but Henry just looks back at her, puzzled. Leo demands to know why they are eating sweets, instead of fighting as she expected. Henry, already enjoying the cake, asks what Leo is talking about. Henry explains she'd rather stuff her face than spill her guts. Leo reminds Henri of her promise to pay her back. Leo recalls Henri's words and acknowledges that she is a woman of her word. Henri asks if she is troubling her, but Leo denies it. Reasoning that it would be rude not to eat what she's been given, Leo decides to try the cake. Leo hesitantly takes a bite of the cake. Henri notices Leo's reaction and asks if she dislikes sweet things. Leo explains that she has simply never eaten this before, shocking Henri. Henri is in disbelief that Leo has never had cake before. Leo elaborates that sweets were off-limits in her home because they were considered unnecessary for fortifying her body. She admits that this is why she hesitated to eat it. Henri is utterly shocked by Leo's revelation. She leaps up, declaring that it's awful to deprive a girl of sweets. Henri proclaims that both the body and soul need sugar, and they will eat many desserts to make up for this tragedy. Leo is taken aback by Henri's passionate reaction. Watching nearby, Fuli remarks that Henri truly is his sister. Moved, Leo agrees to give the cake another try. With her mouth full, Leo expresses her amazement at the wonderful taste. Henri excitedly agrees, saying she's never had anything so tasty. Henri boasts that the cake and cream are some of the best in the world. Leo calls out to a surprised Henri. Leo sincerely thanks her, causing Henri to beam. Henri shyly tells her not to mention it, secretly happy to have found a fellow sweets lover. A waitress panics upon seeing the holy blade, urging the boss to bring out the very best cake they have. Walking through town, Leo Cornelia feels sick, noting a strange chill. Since she has no quests, she decides to go rest, concerned about getting sick again. Despite her resolve, the chills persist, and her body feels incredibly heavy. Suddenly, a voice greets her as Miss Holy Blade, causing her to turn in surprise. A woman introducing herself as the fortune teller Sariella senses that something is troubling Leo and offers to read her fortune. Leo bluntly calls her suspicious, to which Sariella thanks her for the candid impression. Waving her off, Leo insists that nothing is bothering her and tells the fortune teller to drop it. Sariella suggests there is a gentleman who is always on Leo's mind. A flustered Leo denies it, but Sariella insists she can tell just by looking at her. Sariella adds that Leo's change has become the talk of the town, with sightings of her with a man. Leo insists she doesn't have time for trivial love affairs, but Sariella questions if she is sure about that. Despite her denials, Leo can't hide her flustered reaction. The fortune teller warns Leo that if things continue as they are, she won't be able to stay with the man for long. The warning piques Leo's interest, and she asks what Sariella means. Sariella offers to tell her everything about the troubles that await if she comes to her shop. From a distance, Fuli Dent spots Leo and is surprised. He wonders who the person with her is, noting that it's unusual to see her with someone else. Leo follows Sariella inside, warily noting the sketchy appearance of the place. Sariella formally welcomes her to the humble fortune-telling parlor. Leo immediately demands to know what Sariella meant by her earlier warning, confirming the fortune-teller's suspicion that her interest was piqued. As Sariella takes a seat, Leo presses her, asking what she is getting at. Sariella suggests Leo must be quite taken with the man. She points out that Leo was curious enough about their future together to enter an obviously suspicious shop. Leo vehemently denies that is the reason, accusing Sariella of making fun of her. Sariella admits that her warning about Leo not being able to stay with him was just a white lie. However, she asserts that the troubles in her future are very real, which makes Leo's heart thump. Suddenly, Leo shudders, feeling a strange sensation. She realizes she can't move, as Sariella notes that her trap has finally started working. Sariella comments on how much Leo has changed, saying her old self would never have fallen for such a blatant trap. She reveals that the incense in the room saps the body of its strength, making it difficult to move. Sariella then reveals a critical piece of information: the incense only affects humans. Leo looks on in shock, realizing the implication. Leo is shocked to learn that Sariella is a dark elf. Sariella prepares to begin, mentioning that in the past, dark elves were considered the embodiment of darkness. Watching from outside, Fuli realizes that the place Leo entered is home to a being with a burning hatred for all mankind. Paralyzed, Leo can only struggle as Sariella reassures her that it will be over soon. Henri Dent approaches Leo Cornelia, asking if she has a moment to spare. Leo recognizes Henri as Fuli's sister and questions if she has come to challenge her again. With a determined look, Henri tells Leo to follow her. As they walk, Leo observes Henri's intensity, feeling certain that she is about to be attacked again. Remembering how hard Henri can hit, Leo steels herself, deciding to accept whatever challenge is thrown at her. They arrive at a cafe where Anri happily gives thanks for the meal before them. Leo stares in disbelief at the cake, asking what is going on. She questions Anri, confused about why they are eating sweets instead of fighting as she had anticipated. Anri, already enjoying her dessert, seems not to understand Leo's confusion. Anri blissfully eats her cake, causing Leo to wonder if she chose eating over talking. Anri reminds Leo that she had promised to pay her back for being rude. Leo recalls the incident and thinks that Anri seems like an honorable girl. When Anri asks if this is a bother, Leo quickly denies it. Believing it would be impolite not to eat the food she was given, Leo thanks Anri and prepares to take a bite. She hesitantly takes her first taste of the cake. Leo is immediately struck by the delicious flavor of the cake. Anri is shocked when Leo reveals she has never had the chance to eat sweets before. She confirms to a disbelieving Anri that she has never eaten cake. Leo explains that due to the way she was raised, any sweets were considered off-limits because they did not help with her training. She admits that this is why she was a little hesitant to eat it. Anri is utterly horrified by Leo's revelation. Startled by her outburst, Leo asks what is wrong and Anri exclaims that her situation is horrible. Anri passionately insists that Leo must eat a lot of sweets to make up for all the ones she has missed. Watching Anri's passionate display, Leo thinks to herself that she really is Fuli's sister. Overwhelmed but moved, Leo agrees to eat. Leo savors another bite, amazed at how good the cake is. Anri enthusiastically agrees, sharing in the delight. Leo notes that she has never eaten something with this texture before, while Anri explains that the cake is one of the best. Leo sincerely thanks a beaming Anri. Anri was simply glad that she had found another friend who loved sweets. Leo questions Fuli about the werewolf transformation magic he mentioned. Fuli explains that the magic would grant him the physical abilities of a wolf, but he has been unable to make the difficult spell work on his own. He proposes that he could succeed if he casts the magic on another person, asking for Leo's assistance. Leo reluctantly agrees to help, stating that it cannot be helped. Overjoyed, Fuli thanks her and prepares to cast the spell. With a shout, Fuli unleashes the transformation magic. Leo is left dazed and confused, now sporting a pair of cat ears and whiskers. She angrily asks what has happened to her, while Fuli apologizes for accidentally turning her into a cat. Fuli's reasoning that he prefers cats to werewolves does little to calm Leo's fury. Leo confronts Fuli, her speech now peppered with cat-like sounds. She panics, wondering why she can no longer speak properly. Fuli suggests her speech patterns have changed to match the transformation, and then points out that her nose is bleeding. Leo feels utterly humiliated by the situation, while Fuli apologizes for the short-lived effects. Suddenly, her attention is completely diverted by a fluttering butterfly. To her horror, Leo's body moves on its own, leaping after the butterfly as Fuli remarks that she is acting just like a cat. The humiliation is too much for Leo, who begs for death while Fuli apologizes profusely. She desperately tells him to hurry up and fix it. Fuli readies his staff once more, determined to undo the spell. The spell backfires, and Fuli is shocked to find he now has cat ears. As Leo demands to know what he is doing, Fuli panics, realizing he has transformed himself. Leo is relieved that she's finally back to normal. Fuli sheepishly concludes that the magic must only be able to affect one person at a time. With a smug grin, Leo teases Fuli, telling him the cat ears suit him. Fuli panics, pleading with Leo as his body moves against his will, chasing a plant like a cat. Leo savors her revenge, playfully tormenting the helpless cat boy. She announces that this is his punishment, a lesson so effective he would never attempt such magic again. Fuli complains about the summer heat. Leo urges Anri to keep going, since they just started the quest. Anri's sudden appearance surprises Leo, who asks why she is tagging along. Anri explains that she wanted to see how the two of them act on quests together. Fuli and Leo look over a map, with Fuli questioning if their route is safe. Anri watches them intently from her hiding spot. From the bushes, Anri observes that they seem too close. Fuli notices something in Leo's hair and removes it, much to her surprise. Anri erupts, demanding that Fuli and Leo quit flirting. She exclaims that they are far closer than she imagined, almost like lovers. A blushing Leo denies the accusation, asking what Anri is talking about. Anri yells at them to take questing more seriously. Fuli shouts at Anri to stop. Fuli tells his sister to stop saying such crazy things, insisting he and Leo do not have that kind of relationship. Henry is shocked by his denial. Leo thinks to herself that there is no way she and Fuli could become lovers, calling it a dream within a dream. Fuli apologizes to his sister for her jumping to conclusions, calling her cute. He then turns and apologizes to Leo, explaining his little sister had the wrong idea. Leo pouts, clearly irritated by the situation. Fuli asks her if something is wrong, but she dismisses him. She suddenly turns on him, stating that his behavior is bugging her a little. Leo tells Fuli that the way he dotes on his sister is pathetic, leaving him shocked. Henry is in disbelief at what she is hearing. Fuli questions what is wrong with siblings being close, while Leo insists there is a limit. He demands to know what about his behavior is bothering her, claiming he always puts her opinions first. Leo can't believe what he just said, exclaiming that this reveals the kind of man he is. Henry suggests that if there's a problem, he should just tell her so she can fix it. Leo yells that he doesn't get her at all and is really angering her. Henry pleads with them to quit their lovers' quarrel. She asks when fighting became better than getting along. Leo and Fuli are suddenly in agreement, denying that it was a lover's spat or even a real fight. Leo apologizes for getting too heated, and Henry wonders how they made up so fast. Having reconciled, Leo, Fuli, and Henry stand in a forest clearing after defeating several monsters. Leo inwardly muses that quests are easier with more people, and thanks Henry for her help. Henry eagerly asks if they can stop for a bit, catching Fuli's attention. Fuli explains that he wanted to take a break nearby, and asks if the others are all right with joining him. Henry joyfully leaps into the water, revealing the true purpose of their stop. Leo stares blankly, realizing that Henry just wanted to go for a swim. Henry assures them that the watering hole is a hidden gem and perfectly safe to enjoy. Fuli apologizes to a weary Leo for his sister's impulsive actions. Suddenly, a blast of water hits Leo square in the chest. Henry cheekily asks if Leo dislikes the taste of her water bullet, explaining its magical strength. Fuli anxiously calls out to his sister, demanding to know why she attacked Leo. Having changed, Leo emerges from the water, now also in a swimsuit. In a flash, Leo returns fire with a powerful stream of water that sends Henry flying. Fuli can only look on in shock at Leo's swift retaliation. Leo coolly asks Henry if she enjoyed the taste of her water bullet. With a competitive grin, Leo tells Henry that she has piqued her interest and accepts the challenge. Watching from the side, Fuli remarks on what a beautiful sight it is to see Miss Leo in such a good mood. Henry, flustered but determined, shouts that she is getting serious now. Leo eagerly responds, telling her to bring it on. The two women begin their playful battle in the water. Fuli watches from the bank, thinking to himself how much this feels like. Leo playfully shows off her strength to a flustered Henry. He concludes his thought with a peaceful smile, remarking that this is what summer is all about. A stray blast of water soaks Fuli, who is trying to stay out of it. Henry, described as an excited martial artist, compliments the sacred sword for cornering her. Leo, an excited sacred sword herself, replies that it has been a long time since an opponent made her blood boil. Fuli frantically yells for them to wait, worried their escalating fight will destroy the clearing. Sariella sighs in relief, thinking she is all done with her shopping. Her presence catches the attention of two men sitting at a table. One of the men calls out to her, and she turns to respond. The men proposition Sariella, asking her to play with them for a little while. Sariella declines, explaining that they are not her type. They question her refusal, boasting about being famous adventurers. Sariella grows annoyed at their persistence and wonders what to do. One of the men grabs her arm, insisting that it is no big deal. An unseen person shouts for them to stop right there. Fuli appears and tells the men to let go of Sariella, calling her his friend. Sariella recognizes Fuli, while the men demand to know who he is and why he is bothering them. The thug warns Fuli, saying it takes a lot of balls to fight them. Fuli retorts that it does not matter who they are. If they lay a finger on her, they are his enemy. Sariella thinks Fuli is a good kid for trying to save her, believing he must be strong since he partied with the sacred sword. She decides to watch and see what he can do. To everyone's shock, Fuli is defeated in a single blow, leaving the men wondering what is wrong with him. The thugs decide they should take care of him. Horrified, Sariella shouts for them to stop. An unknown person asks what is going on. Leo rushes in, striking one of the men and sending him reeling in surprise. She announces that Fuli is her party member, causing the other thug to realize she is the sacred sword. With a cold fury, Leo asks the men if they want to die. The thugs scream in terror. Leo checks on Fuli, who apologizes while she chides him for being an idiot. She tells Fuli he was naive and could have been killed in an instant. Sariella asks Fuli why he refrained from using magic during the confrontation. Fuli explains that to him, magic is meant for helping people, not for violence against opponents who are not truly dangerous. He then turns his attention to Sariella, asking to see her right hand. As he heals her, Fuli explains that the man's grip was forceful, and a bruise would not look good on her pretty hand. Sariella is stunned, realizing he is using recovery magic. She tells Fuli he is one of the most idiotic kids she knows. Internally, however, she amends her thought, acknowledging that he is also one of the kindest. Leo puffs out her cheeks, teasingly asking if she has been forgotten. Fuli frantically reassures a pouting Leo that he could never forget her. Sariella thanks Leo for her help earlier. Leo replies that it was nothing and just repayment for a past kindness, though she mentions that the memory is a bit hazy. Sariella declines any monetary payment, proposing a favor instead. Sariella's favor is an invitation for Leo to visit her mansion to have some fun with new tools she wants to use. Leo agrees to the proposition, thanking Sariella. Sariella suddenly grabs Fuli, declaring she will take him to her mansion to fix him up. Leo shouts in frustration that Fuli can use healing magic perfectly fine on his own, but Sariella does not seem to get it. Sariella suggests it is better for her to give Fuli direct medical attention, while Fuli stammers in fear of Leo's scary reaction. Walking through a forest on a hot day, Fuli complains that he's getting dizzy despite having had plenty of water. He reflects that they have faced more demons than usual, and he has used too much magic. He tells himself that the quest will be over soon, so he just has to hold out a little longer. Leo notices his companion's struggle and asks him what is wrong. Suddenly, Fuli collapses, and Leo cries out his name in alarm. As his consciousness fades, Fuli realizes he cannot move his body and doesn't want to be a bother to Leo. He desperately thinks that he cannot fall in a place like this, believing he won't be worthy of standing next to her if he does. His last thought is a plea for Miss Leo not to leave him behind. Fuli slowly opens his eyes, feeling disoriented. He finds himself sitting against a tree with Leo standing over him, who notes that he is awake. He asks about the quest, and Leo tells him she cancelled it because he is in no shape to be fighting. Fuli protests and tries to stand, insisting he can still fight, while Leo tells him to stop moving. He tries to brush it off, claiming he's fine and not that weak. Leo angrily tells Fuli to stop moving, asking if he listens at all. Fuli is shocked by her sudden outburst. She demands to know why he didn't say anything about his condition until he collapsed. With tears welling in her eyes, Leo calls him a huge idiot. Fuli apologizes, explaining that he just didn't want to be a burden to her. Leo asks why he would push himself to his limits and tells him not to do it again. He then notices that it's cool where they are and wonders when they stopped near a river, as he doesn't recall one being nearby when they started. He realizes with shock that Miss Leo must have carried him all the way there. Fuli smiles to himself, thinking that he always knew Miss Leo was a wonderful person. Leo apologizes for everything and makes him promise not to go past his limits, adding that he'd better not. She asks him why he's smiling, and he begins to explain. He confesses that it is because he loves her and will continue to love her even more, which causes a flustered Leo to ask what he is saying out of nowhere. This was a summer day Fuli would never forget. Leo, looking uncomfortable in her armor, questions what they are doing. The fortune teller, Sariella, cheerfully explains that she is going to read Leo's fortune. Leo expresses her disbelief in fortune-telling, finding it shady and untrustworthy. Sariella reminds Leo that she did keep her promise to come to her mansion and play with her. Leo clarifies that she only agreed to visit, not to stay for any other activities. Sensing an opportunity, Sariella cleverly proposes a fortune reading about Leo's compatibility with Fuli. Leo is taken aback by the suggestion of a compatibility reading. She quickly insists that Fuli is just her party member, not her partner. Despite her protests, Leo agrees to the reading, a reaction Sariella finds amusing. Sariella invites her to take a look into the crystal ball. Leo leans in, intently waiting for the results of the fortune. Sariella gravely informs Leo that her reading shows they have horrible compatibility. The fortune continues, stating that due to Leo's obstinate personality, Fuli is destined for misfortune and injury. She foresees their feelings for each other stagnating and eventually leading to a separation. Sariella pauses and asks if Leo wants her to continue with the reading. Visibly flustered, Leo pretends to be uninterested but urges Sariella to keep going. Sariella questions how well Leo truly understands Fuli. She suggests that Fuli might not be the person Leo has in mind. Sariella continues, suggesting that another woman could easily make deciding difficult for him. She implies that Fuli might be more of a womanizer than Leo previously thought. Sariella seems taken aback by Leo's sudden outburst. Leo angrily refutes the fortune, insisting Sariella is wrong about everything. She declares her intention to trust her own instincts and what she's seen of Fuli's character over the fortune. Sariella remains silent, listening to Leo's passionate defense. Sariella's quiet amusement confuses Leo. Sariella admits it was nothing more than a test of Leo's faith in Fuli. She then cheerfully confesses that she has never gotten a single prediction right in her life. Leo explodes in anger, realizing she has been completely deceived. Leo demands to know what vision Sariella saw, only to be told the crystal ball is just an ordinary piece of glass. Sariella slyly suggests that Leo's fierce reaction actually proved there is no way they are not compatible. Leo is left completely flustered and speechless by the remark. Calling it all bullshit, Leo storms out of the mansion as Sariella calls after her, pleased with her teasing. Fuli stretches by the campfire as Leo approaches, thanking him for his work. Leo apologizes for napping first, but says it's fine since they plan to take turns guarding anyway. She offers to take the watch now so he can have a good night. Fuli notes that the air feels colder and asks if she will be all right. She confidently tells him it's no big deal because she is built differently than he is. Suddenly, Fuli wraps his scarf around a surprised and blushing Leo. Leo protests that she doesn't need it, but Fuli simply says he felt like doing it. He smiles and says she should take it as a thank you for letting him sleep first. He then turns to leave for his patrol, leaving a flustered Leo behind. Alone, Leo wonders what Fuli was thinking. She buries her face in the scarf and realizes with a blush that it smells really good. She recognizes it as his body scent, which she finds surprisingly pleasant. She wonders why the unfamiliar scent makes her feel so comfortable. A flustered thought crosses her mind: she must look like a gigantic pervert right now. In a panic, she rips the scarf off, declaring she doesn't need it. However, after a moment, she realizes that now she can't sleep. Deciding there's nothing to be done since it is cold, she wraps the scarf around herself once more. Leo is startled awake by Fuli embracing her from behind and wishing her good morning. She reacts with shock, demanding to know who he is as he asks if something is wrong. Fuli teases her, asking why she's so shy and telling her she's adorable. He gently holds her chin, telling her he can't help but want to kiss her cute face. As he leans in, a panicked Leo protests that she isn't prepared for this. She's taken aback, wondering if he was always this strong. Completely overwhelmed by his mysterious manliness, she feels she can't fight against it. Fuli's voice cuts through her daze, calling out that it's morning. He remarks that it's rare for her to oversleep and that she must have been having a pleasant dream. Still dazed, a blushing Leo realizes it was all just a dream. The realization that the scarf's scent made her dream about Fuli causes her to scream and run away in embarrassment. As rain begins to fall, Fuli comments on how bothersome it is. He observes the forming clouds, realizing a thunderstorm is likely approaching, which causes Leo to tense up. Leo immediately starts running, urging them to hurry home, but Fuli calls for her to wait. He suggests they take shelter at his house since it's nearby and offers to make her dinner. Leo is left completely surprised by his unexpected invitation. Fuli welcomes Leo inside, explaining that his sister is out so she can relax. Leo is shocked to learn that it will be just the two of them. Flustered, she demands to know why he didn't mention this earlier, much to Fuli's confusion. Fuli, trying to diffuse the tension, announces that he will go prepare dinner. Leo quietly processes the fact that she is alone with him. Leo begins to panic, wondering what to do now that she's alone in his house with him. She recalls stories about men who act gentle at first to lure a woman in. Her imagination runs wild, picturing Fuli becoming a beast, a fear stemming from her lack of experience with men. Fuli calling her name from the other room startles her out of her thoughts. He innocently asks if he can do something before he starts to cook, a question her panicked mind takes the wrong way. Her mind races, imagining Fuli calling her a delicious appetizer and saying he wants a taste before dinner. Leo is flabbergasted by the entire situation, wondering what kind of comedy show she's in. The reality is far more mundane, as Fuli simply asks her to help him put the dishes on the table. She realizes he meant plates and he thanks her for the help. Fuli proudly presents the meal he has prepared. He sets down a lavish spread of several dishes. Leo is stunned and asks if he really made all of it himself, to which he happily confirms he put in extra effort. She is amazed, thinking to herself that he's an even better cook than some professionals. Her stomach growling, she gives her thanks for the food and prepares to dig in. Leo is overjoyed by how good the food tastes. She tries to play it cool, calling it not too shabby, while Fuli thanks her for the compliment. As she eats, she thinks about how attentive, earnest, and good at housekeeping he is, concluding he'd be perfect if he wasn't a pervert who loves abs. She glances at him, thinking that while he may not be cool or extraordinary, there's something about him. Looking at Fuli, she feels her heart begin to throb. A loud crash of thunder and a flash of lightning startles Leo. Fuli looks outside at the pouring rain, noting that it's so bad his sister probably can't make it home. He turns to Leo and asks if she would be willing to stay for the night. Leo is completely shocked by his sudden offer. Leo apologizes for having to borrow clothes from Fuli's sister, though he says he doesn't mind. Feeling awkward, she tells a surprised Fuli that she thinks it is best if she goes home. Fuli stops her, explaining she can't leave because of the heavy thunderstorm, but Leo brushes it off as nothing. However, a sudden clap of thunder causes her to flinch in fear. Flustered and embarrassed, Leo quickly suggests that they should get some sleep. Fuli wishes a startled Leo good night as they lie in their separate beds. The closeness of their beds sends Leo into a panic. Fuli nonchalantly explains that his house is narrow, so he's accustomed to sharing a room with his sister, Ah-chan. Leo internally fumes, wondering if he is completely unaware of how the situation looks. She tells Fuli to just forget it, and he seems to accept her request. Leo tries to rationalize the situation, telling herself there's no way they could become lovers. She questions why she is getting so flustered by the situation. A sudden, loud clap of thunder makes Leo cry out in terror. She despairs, realizing she can't deal with the thunder and won't be able to sleep. Her muttering and frustration seem to catch Fuli's attention. Without warning, Fuli wraps his arms around a surprised Leo. She is completely flustered by the sudden physical contact. Her mind races, trying to understand why Fuli is suddenly hugging her. She concludes that he must be an animal who is aiming for her from the very beginning. She realizes Fuli is sleepwalking when he talks, as if comforting his little sister from the scary thunder. Leo furiously protests, telling the Siskin to let her go because she is not his little sister. He continues to comfort her, rubbing her head and telling her it will be okay. Despite how frustrating the situation is, Leo finds herself feeling calm in his embrace. Just then, Henri Dent bursts into the room, happily announcing that she is home. Henri freezes, finding Fuli and Leo in a compromising position. Her expression darkens as she takes in the scene before her. She explodes in anger, demanding to know what they're doing while Leo tries to explain and wake Fuli up. Leo calls out to Fuli, suggesting they start their quest. Noticing his silence, she asks him what is wrong. Fuli tries to respond, but his voice is barely a whisper. Leo thinks to herself that he is acting very strange. He tries to speak again, but she still can't make out his quiet words. Suddenly, Fuli slams his hand against the wall next to Leo, startling her. Completely flustered, she wonders what has gotten into him. She finds his uncharacteristically forward behavior to be a little scary. As he leans closer, she demands to know what he is doing. Fuli leans in close and whispers an apology, explaining that he seems to have caught a cold. He clarifies that while he is physically fine, he has lost his voice. After she stumbles away, Leo sees Fuli looking unsteady and asks if something is wrong. The whispering in her ear makes Leo's heart pound like crazy, and she quickly backs away. Fuli whispers again, asking if she is okay and telling her to let him know if she feels unwell. She tells him she's okay and demands he let go of her. The feeling of his breath on her is too much, and she struggles to compose herself. She internally admits that his voice, husky from the cold, sounds rather manly. Trying to regain her composure, she insists they start the quest for the time being. Leo efficiently dispatches a monster with a clean strike. After finishing her part of the fight, she asks Fuli if he is done as well. She is horrified to see a monster lunging at an unaware Fuli and yells for him to watch out. Leo springs into action, dispatching the monster just before it reaches Fuli. She chides him for being an idiot and letting his guard down. She tells him to clean up the mess so they can head to the next area. As she turns away, she trips with a cry. Fuli suddenly grabs her from behind, catching her. He thanks her for her wonderful assistance and for rescuing him. Fuli once again leans in to whisper, causing Leo to become extremely flustered. Overwhelmed, Leo furiously tells him not to whisper in her ear and strikes him. She stares in shock after hitting him. For the rest of the quest, they decided it was safer to communicate by writing instead of whispering. Sariella strikes a pose in a revealing outfit and asks Fuli for his opinion. Flustered, Fuli admits it's wonderful but a bit too risque, though he thanks her for the compliment. When he asks why she brought him to a women's clothing store, she explains she wanted a man's honest opinion on her outfits. Sariella apologizes for calling him out unexpectedly, but Fuli reassures her that it is fine since he had no plans. He adds that while he has been shopping with his sister before, this is his first time in a shop like this. Since his reaction was not great, Sariella decides to change right in front of him, causing Fuli to panic. He yells for her to close the curtains, and she apologizes with a laugh. From behind the curtain, Sariella announces that she has finished changing and he can look. Sariella reveals a new outfit that is even more revealing than the last, leaving Fuli aghast. Misunderstanding his flustered state, Sariella asks if he thinks the outfit is no good. He quickly turns away, telling her to hurry and change her clothes. She calls his name to get his attention. Turning her back to him, Sariella asks Fuli to help her take off her necklace, much to his shock. He stammers, asking if she really wants him to do it, while she pleads for him to take it off. Sariella notices his ears are bright red and finds it incredibly cute. She internally admits that she is a huge sadist and just wants to tease and gobble him up. Sariella continues to tease Fuli, asking for his help removing another part of her outfit. She playfully asks why not, but Fuli insists he cannot. Overwhelmed, Fuli shouts that he can't do it. Sensing she's gone too far, Sariella apologizes for getting carried away and worries that he must find a woman like her annoying. Fuli quickly tries to deny it. Fuli blurts out that Sariella is incredibly beautiful, and he wishes she was more aware of it, confessing that her closeness gives him the wrong idea. Sariella is surprised by his honest confession. She muses that she thought he was only interested in women like Leo, but his words have her intrigued. The shopping trip concludes with Sariella buying a variety of clothes, much to Fuli's continued dismay, as she suggests trying on see-through items. Fuli expresses his admiration for Leo's strength after she effortlessly defeats a massive boar. Leo remains cautious, explaining that this kind of boar usually has a mate, and the female is supposed to be the stronger of the two. Their conversation is cut short by a sudden rustling from the forest. Leo spots something and urges Fuli to follow her as they rush toward the sound. The mysterious knight lands a powerful single slash, felling the beast instantly. She stands over the defeated creature as Fuli and Leo look on in surprise. The boar bursts apart from the force of the blow. The mysterious dark-haired knight turns her intense gaze towards them. Both Leo and a stunned Fuli are left speechless by the display of power. The newcomer identifies Leo's weapon as a sacred sword. Leo recognizes the other knight's weapon, calling it the berserk blade. Confused by the tension, Fuli asks Leo who the other knight is. Leo decides to leave, pulling a protesting Fuli with her. Leo identifies the knight as Helga Wagner, also known as the Berserk Blade. Fuli is impressed to learn that Helga is said to be nearly as strong as Leo. Leo dismisses any rivalry, but admits she left to avoid a potential fight. She warns Fuli about the dangerous look in Helga's eyes, describing them as those of a battle maniac. Leo chides Fuli for not knowing about someone so famous. He sheepishly explains that he's never paid attention to other knights because Leo is the only one he has ever admired. His earnest confession flusters Leo. She reacts by telling him to shut up and questions why he is saying such things. She repeatedly jabs him, leaving Fuli confused by her sudden outburst. Fuli admits to himself that he was terrified when the Berserk Blade looked at him. He wanders into the woods alone to take care of some business. He reflects on the Berserk Blade's intimidating eyes and how she seemed ready to cut anyone down without hesitation. He shudders, thinking he could have been killed if Leo had not dragged him away. Shaking off the dark thoughts, he decides he is overthinking it and gets ready. Just as Fuli is about to relieve himself, he is startled to find Helga Wagner standing right there. He freezes in terror, stammering a greeting to the Berserk Blade. She stares at him intensely, her expression unreadable. He has chosen the worst possible time and place for this encounter. Helga believes her adventure has come to an end and apologizes to Miss Leo. She laments that the berserk blade will murder her out of shame, thanking Leo for everything. Fuli can only react with confusion. Fuli stammers, trying to alert the mortified Helga to her state of undress. He finally shouts for her to get dressed, realizing what is happening. Meanwhile, Leo waits alone, commenting that Fuli is late. Fuli approaches the now-dressed Helga and asks what she was doing there. Helga remains too flustered to speak properly. Fuli is taken aback by her quiet demeanor. He starts to realize that she might not be the person he thought she was. Fuli kindly suggests they talk things out slowly. Helga shyly thanks him, admitting her social awkwardness, and Fuli realizes she's just shy. She then apologizes for taking the quest, and Fuli tells her not to worry about it. Fuli asks where Leo is, offering to call for her. Helga frantically tells him not to. She confesses that she gets nervous in front of the sacred sword because she thinks Leo is so cool. Helga explains that she has long admired Leo and tried hard to catch up to her. She explains that whenever she gets close to Leo, she becomes too nervous to say anything. Fuli emphatically tells her that he understands. He introduces himself and suggests that her being a fan of Leo makes them friends. Helga is flustered and overjoyed at the prospect of having a friend. She excitedly gets in Fuli's personal space, explaining that he's her very first friend. Fuli offers to answer any questions she has about Leo, and Helga expresses her immense gratitude. Leo appears on the path, asking what's going on. Caught off guard while holding Helga's hands, Fuli calls out to Leo. With a furious expression, Leo demands an explanation from the terrified Fuli. Leo menacingly confronts Fuli and Helga, demanding to know what they are doing. She furiously accuses them of being on a secret date, leaving Fuli to stammer that she is misunderstanding. Her jealousy boiling over, Leo declares her intention to kill them both. Leo's jealousy manifests as a pouting tantrum as she continues to mutter about killing them. Realizing the danger, Fuli knows he must fix the misunderstanding immediately. However, Helga is too terrified by Leo's rage to be of any help. In a desperate move, Fuli lunges forward and grabs the blade of Leo's sword. He shouts that he only loves Miss Leo and that she is the only one in the world for him. The sharp blade slices his hand. His sudden declaration stuns Leo into silence. Leo, flustered, asks what he's doing, but Fuli insists it's the only way to clear things up. He presents his case, explaining that he could never fall for Helga because she lacks abs and is just his friend. He passionately declares that the only one he could ever love is Miss Leo. Helga looks on, dumbfounded by his reasoning. The situation takes an unexpected turn as Helga joins in, confessing that she really likes Leo. Leo dismisses it as a joke, refusing to lose to Helga. Helga explains that she has adored the sacred sword for a long time and has been devoted to her since they met. Now faced with two people fervently declaring their devotion, Leo is left completely bewildered. Overwhelmed and blushing, Leo tells them both to calm down. She admits their embarrassing display is making her head spin, but agrees to listen to their explanation. Helga tells Fuli to hurry and treat his injury. Relieved, Fuli celebrates that they managed to calm Leo down, seeing that she is a kind person. Overcome with joy, Helga suddenly embraces a startled Fuli. She thanks him tearfully for helping her finally speak with Leo. Fuli panics and pleads with her to let go, fearing it will cause another misunderstanding. Just as Fuli feared, Leo witnesses the hug and her jealousy reignites instantly, unleashing a powerful slash nearby. Fuli turns in shock to see a furious Miss Leo. Pouting furiously, she declares that she's back to her original plan of killing them both. Fuli tries to protest, but Leo tells him to shut up, returning the situation to square one.